Have you checked out all the new handicappers at Wager Talk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at Wager Talk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to wagertalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
Hey guys, welcome into Wager Talk TV. It is Tuesday, January 3rd of 2023. Happy New Year to all of you guys out there watching. We appreciate everybody that watches live or recorded here on Wager Talk TV or the app on iOS, Android, Roku devices. We are happy to have Puck Time back here in 2023, and I'm Andrew McInnis. I'm happy to be home after a little holiday break, visiting some family. Of course, I have Carmine Bianco with me and Don Buster in his usual Tuesday rotation. We have 4 games to break down for today: Hurricanes, Rangers, Blues, Maple Leafs, Islanders, Canucks, and the last game with the Dallas Stars and the LA Kings. Guys, Winter Classic yesterday. Still a couple days games in the NHL. We had the Avalanche getting a little bit healthier, but they still were big favorites, actually, and they get upset. They lose that one. McInnis scores, I think, 20 or 30 seconds into the game. That does not matter as the Golden Knights take them down. But the NHL continues to be very competitive. We're seeing upsets everywhere. But I'll tell you one thing, Carm. I know I don't want to take too much time talking about it. I know I've talked about it in the past, but Connor Bedard just seems to continue to live up to expectations. He scores the overtime game winner for Team Canada yesterday. And I'm not usually a fan of tanking, but any team that wants to tank just got a few more reasons as to why they should do that yesterday. What's going on, Carm?
Not much. I was on the wrong end of that Colorado game when McInnis scored, and I was out with friends. But when McInnis scored early on, I'm like, all right, it's a good start. It's what I thought McKinnon second game since coming back, and maybe the Avs can get rolling. But there's just nobody else performing on that team right now. And as I mentioned, I was out with friends, and I know it's a hockey show, but as you know, I'm a huge Buffalo Bills fan, and it was terrible what happened in that game yesterday. So thoughts and prayers is all we can really do right now to Hamlin and his family. As a scary scene in Cincinnati in that game. And then I had to log off of Twitter because there's so much idiocy that surrounds when something like this happens, and it's usually gamblers who are worried about their money more so than the lives of people who are on the field. So I'm going to leave it at that, and we're going to discuss hockey. I'm looking forward to it. This NHL season is going to pick up. This is about the time, while I like to talk about a good run that I had to finish off the last 60 days of 2022. I think I was number one at Wager Talk as far as units gained, but this is about the time of the year last year where you went on an absolute heater, man. And you were like Speedy Gonzalez. You just like zipped right by me, and I'm just like trying to catch up to you and stuff. So I'm ready for you this year, my friend. I am ready for you. So we are going to go mano a mano as much as we can, and try at the same time to give our Puck Time community and followers, both here on the show and on Twitter, a bunch of or a lot of winners sort of moving forward. So let's see if we can keep that going. Our regular Tuesday guest is with us, Don Buster. Welcome to 2023 Puck Time.
Thank you very much, Carmine. Good to see Andrew's back in his chair there, although I am a little surprised that he's just not hanging out to get those semifinals and final games of Team Canada there, of the juniors. But I do understand he has a job to do, so we appreciate him coming back and doing that job here. And I'm sure a lot of the people in the chat and the people that watch every day appreciate Andrew for not being selfish and for coming on the show and doing his thing. Just teasing you, brother. You know that. Yeah. You know what, Carmine? I want to thank you as well here for not putting Montreal on and for not putting Winnipeg on. Seems like we've been talking about those every Tuesday. So I want to thank you for that. Although you did pick 4 really, really tough games to handicap. But we'll look forward to doing that. And let's have a good show, guys.
Well,
yeah, Buster, listen, and Andrew, because you guys are Montreal fans, I thought it was appropriate that at least for the first show of 2023, we keep, I like Nashville, and they're having an up and down season. I don't know where they're going, but I just didn't think Nashville against a junior A, triple A, or whatever team is what people wanted to talk about today. So I kept the Montreal Canadiens off it. The team that really should be tanking right now, because Connor Bedard in that jersey would help that Montreal rebuild, probably move forward a year or so. That guy he's a generational talent. I'm telling you this is a guy that you want to get in this year's draft. I hate to throw out names, Andrew, but I almost feel like it's like a Sidney Crosby type of number one pick.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. And he plays very unselfish too, right? He's not just a goal scorer. There was a game I saw him play in person where I think he had 4 or 5 assists, Carm. Not one goal in that game, but all kinds of assists. So he knows how to pass the puck around. I know we got to get into the show, but since you did say that, it did remind me of something. For all you guys out there and anyone that's a Canadiens fan, Carm, you're actually right, because you know what? The Florida Panthers traded us a first-round pick for Ben Sherratt. So Ben Sherratt might actually turn into Connor Bedard. That might go down as the worst trade in the history of the NHL. But usually teams will protect picks, right? So they'll say, we'll give you our first-round pick unless it's a top 5 or unless it's a top 3. Florida chose not to protect their pick. And they aren't having a great year right now. So there's a good chance the Habs might have 2 picks inside the top 10. Just so everybody knows, that is pretty crazy for me that Florida did not trade and get a condition on that pick, which, pretty much puts some insurance on them as hey, if we get first overall pick, it's not yours. But they did not do that. So that's a little bit of a mistake there, but it should be funny to watch how all of that unravels. I know that, Carm, you've been fading the bottom teams like the Ducks and the Blackhawks, and I don't blame you. Those teams are in full tank mode, it seems like, whether they mean to or not. Let's get into the games here, guys. Carolina and New York. Carm, I saw you had something to say. You can add on when I throw the game to you. Carolina minus 125, Rangers plus 105, total at 5.5 in this one, shaded towards the over here in this one. And Carolina certainly picking up some steam here in this conference, Carm. That's for sure. They're playing some solid hockey.
Yeah, I remember, Andrew, I'm not sure who was on the show. Someone said, I'm not going to toot my own horn, that the Carolina Panthers were about to go on a winning streak. And here we are, 15-0-1, their last 16 games. This team is absolutely fire right now. They are just winning games. And it doesn't matter who is in their way when they're doing it. And who's in their way is the New York Rangers. Andrew, let me tell you this. I'm going to tell you this. Shesterkin is confirmed to go tonight for the Rangers at home, which is scary in itself because this Rangers team can win games as well too. And but you got Carolina 7-0-1, 1.63 goals against average for Kochkakov, if I pronounce his name right. The guy is playing unbelievable in goal. Carolina is playing unbelievable defense, which is why the total's at 5.5. If it was at 6, everyone would be banging the under. I still like the under in this game. I will say this. You look at the line on this game, and you've got Carolina as a small favorite, minus 125 on the road, on an 11-game win streak. Is it just me, or does this game feel like the squarest play on the card, where you just say 11 in a row, they're going to make it 12 in a row? They're going to beat the Rangers, who are coming back, or coming home, off a short little road trip at the end of the year. I don't know. They were in Florida. They picked up, a point against Tampa. They pick up a win against Florida. It just, to me, seems like, I'm not going to take a side in this game. It just feels like the squarest play to say, take Carolina minus 125. They're going to win. Sometimes you just say, take the best team and just forget about it, and that's it. And Carolina is the better team. They're going to end up winning this Metro if they keep this pace up. I have to lean the under. I just cannot go anywhere other than two very good teams who play very good defense. The Rangers are very good at home defensively. I've been playing and winning games because they've been playing better defensively. And then you got Carolina. In this 11-game win streak of theirs, they've gone under the total 7 times. They're doing it with defense and a mix of scoring up front. So, yeah, the square play is Carolina. I'm not going to touch either side. I'm going to take the under, and I don't care who wins. Don Buster, what do you like?
Well, Carmine, you've kind of said it all there. I tend to agree with you. Maybe not on that square play, but as you said, to me, both these clubs are probably playing their best hockey. Obviously, Carolina is. Even like you said, it was 16-0-1. Yeah, even 17 games, they lost in overtime that game. So just crazy what Carolina has done. And I'm kind of a little PO'd about them too, because I've had them to win the Stanley Cup the last couple of years. Always thought they were really good, had a future, and this year I didn't take them. So who knows? This might be their year now. But the Rangers have been, as you said also, Carmen, the Rangers have been playing very well too. They've won 9 out of the last 12. And but again, I'm not going to stand in front of Carolina to break this streak. That's for sure. I want really no part of the side here. That's for sure. But in saying that, Carolina might have to lose sometime. And if they are going to lose, they struggle in New York. 15-21, the last 26 at MSG. So I know that's a lot of history, and it doesn't matter but we talk about that all the time. And we've proven now the last 4 years, we've proven how teams go into places that, I can remember a bunch of games going out to Calgary and Edmonton and that where teams just play well, and it's kind of goofy. But again, I'm just throwing that out there for people that might think, maybe this is the game that Carolina loses, because they do have to lose eventually, right? So anyways, just throwing that out there. I'm with you, Carmine, on the side. I like it under 5.5. The last 7 games have went 5. I've went to the under. As I said to you, Carmine, you've put on 4 really tough handicap games that probably won't make my card, because it's hard to bet under 5.5, even in the NHL, because I always say it's so easy to get to 6 in the NHL, especially with the empty nets and the way they pull their goalies now these days, the coaches. So I'm not going to do it, but I would lean the slightest to New York because of that streak and just the way they've been playing as well. But it doesn't make my card, but I would lean to the under as well.
Well, and of course, in recent history, we have seen the Rangers be a much better team at home. This year, it hasn't been as strong, but it started to pick up a little bit. And of course, as we talked about, they are coming off that Florida double against 2 really tough teams. And now you have to play a Carolina team. And Buster, it's funny you say that as far as the future goes. I'm in the same boat, man. My friends every year in the playoffs, they're like, you pick the Hurricanes every year to be your sleeper pick. And then of course this year is probably going to be the year they do really well and get over that hump. But
of course,
guys, it's one of those things too with them is that they're not just beating good teams, they're beating everybody. And when teams score 3 or 4 on them, they score 5 or 6. They're the definition of anything you do, I can do better right now is what this Carolina Hurricane. Oh, you want me to beat you in a low-scoring game? Sure, I'll do that. You want me to put up 6 goals on you? Sounds good to me. That's what the Hurricanes are doing right now. But having said that, I think we're going to get a good defensive performance out of both clubs. But Buster had a really good point that I agree with as far as it's very easy to get over 5.5. So a lot of times these days, guys, when I want to go under in a game with a total of 5.5, this is what I'll do. I look first period. At DraftKings right now, you can get -105 on under 1.5 goals first period. I think we're going to see a big defensive strategy for the New York Rangers as they start this home stretch here and as they take on a really talented Hurricanes team. The Hurricanes have no problem playing in low-scoring games. I expect both teams trapping things up, making the zone entries very difficult. And, exactly what Buster was saying, how it's just, these games in a second period or third period could escape. You get one empty net goal that could push you over the 5.5 to 6. I don't like betting under 5.5. So a lot of the time, if I do like that game under, I will just take the first period under 1.5 goals. So that's what I like, guys. Just the first period here in this one. So hopefully we can cash a ticket. But Carm, we'll have to do a little futures update at some point during puck time, because you and I both kind of get into them on January, February, around this time of year.
Yeah, I mean, the last few years, I think it was not so much last year, but the previous couple of years. There were big prices on the Islanders, and I just thought I like taking futures sometimes with some good defensive teams. But in speaking to this game before we move on to the Blues and the Leafs, is this game is eerily familiar to, like, I still remember talking about, I think it was last season, talking about the Carolina Hurricanes, who were playing extremely well and went into Boston. And I like the under in the game. I still remember this. I like the under in the game because both teams were playing lights out defensive hockey. And then I think Carolina scored 4 or 5 in the first period, and it was 5-0 at the 4 or 5-0 in the end of the first period, blowing the under right under the water, which is dangerous with 5.5s. You get one bad period and you're gonzo. Yeah. You understand it. You know it. So it is always tough taking an under 5.5. I feel like I'm going to take one here. It's not going to make my card, but it might make that pizza money kind of bet with some smaller plays for me.
Wouldn't shock me to see a defensive battle between those two teams. That's for sure. Buster, let's get into Leafs and Blues here in this one. These teams have met pretty, I think, in the past week or two. We did see a high-scoring contest between them. We saw the Maple Leafs come out on top, winning it 5-4. They were pretty big favorites in that one, though. They were listed as minus 175 closing price. Right now, they're minus 275. Plus 225 is the number there for the St. Louis Blues. Total is at 6, slightly shaded towards the under here in this one. And Buster, before we get into this game, I just want to ask you your opinion on this Blues team. What should we think of this Blues team right now? Are they underachieving? Should we just accept that they aren't who maybe we thought they were going to be? What's the deal with this Blues team?
Well, truthfully, Andrew, I actually thought they were going to start to go on a run come the new year. But
okay.
as we get into this analysis for this game, he lost Tarasenko and O'Reilly. They just went on the IR. I think they're going to lose them for at least a month. And that's going to be a killer for him. That's just going to be a killer for him. And Krug is already still out. So that's what, if they had those guys, then I would think that they would, because they are a pretty good team. I don't know how they do it now, missing, that's a lot of good talent to not have on the ice. So anyways, getting into this game, Toronto, as everybody knows, have been playing great hockey. Winners of 4 of their last 5, 13 of their last 17. But I'm not laying 275 here. That's for sure. They just beat the Blues in St. Louis last Tuesday. We talked about them. I actually said I thought St. Louis was a live dog. And of course, they were a live dog. They lost in overtime, and that's a shock that I lost a game in overtime. All my clients will know that's not a shock, because the last 3 years I've been just having a brutal time. Actually, I'm having a great year in overtime this year. I'm 6-12 in overtime this year, so I'm actually quite happy about that. So maybe we can get a few of those back this year moving forward. Like I say, normally I would say that St. Louis is a live dog in this game for sure, because they have beat Toronto 12 out of 14 times in Toronto. But again, with the guys on the ice and the way Toronto has been playing, I really, the only way I think you can go here is to take Toronto even on the puck line, because on the money line, they're like minus 180. And, maybe St. Louis has that attitude. And we've talked about this lots of times when a bunch of guys go out, because it just happened yesterday that they put O'Reilly and Tarasenko on that list. Maybe they, have that one strong game. But Toronto's not that team, not at home. They've been playing really well at home, and we've talked about that as well. So, and as far as the total here, lean to the under, because I'm not sure how much goals St. Louis can get this game. And the under is 4-1-1 the last 6 in Toronto. But if anything, I would play Toronto puck line here. I can see it being a 4-1, 5-1 game, maybe even 3-1, 3-0. I don't know how St. Louis scores tonight, tell you the truth, as long as Toronto plays the way they've been playing.
Well, I mean, the Maple Leafs are on a really good stretch right now. Besides that loss they had against the dangerous, contending Arizona Coyotes. I mean, they just have their number, Carm. This Maple Leafs team could be on the heater of a lifetime, but if the Coyotes step in front of them, better watch out. It's so weird. I mean, Buster, to your point that you made earlier about certain teams against certain teams, they just don't match up well, or they play down to their competition, or whatever we want to use. But it's definitely a thing. But the Maple Leafs, like you said, also have improved their defense this year. But Carm, I have to agree here with Buster about when the St. Louis Blues, miss a few players. They already weren't playing very well. They already didn't have that huge, that much scoring depth on their team. They didn't have a lot of guys executing on the power play. And now you take more guys out of the picture. I don't think it's a recipe for success, but I also don't love the minus 275 here. I actually do like the team total under. So I'm kind of piggybacking off what Buster was just talking about. So I won't take much time. I think St. Louis struggles to score here. I think Toronto locks them down. I don't see St. Louis getting any more than 2 goals here. What about you, Carm?
Yeah, listen, that next man up mentality, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The Blues team, when they went out west, they were scoring goals, and they come home and they played that game against the Leafs after the Christmas break, the one in which the Leafs that we found out, and I think I mentioned on the show, broke the travel protocol rules and traveled to St. Louis early, paid the $100,000 fine, raised the prices of beers to pay for the $100,000. And here we are. Now they're playing them again. The Leafs have been almost unbeatable at home. And when they go on these streaks, which like they did last year, they're awfully tough to beat. They're 8-0-2, their last 10 at home. Samsonov is confirmed for tonight. Looks like it's going to be Binnington for St. Louis, although that's not confirmed. It's tough. I don't mind taking the over here because I think we can still get there. Even if the Blues only get a couple goals, I think we still get there with one of those 5-2, 6-2 type of games. These teams played, I get with their full squads, a 5-4 game in OT last time out in St. Louis. The Blues can still score goals. Even when they're missing players, they still got guys, I think, that can score here. It's tough with the line, minus 275 on the Leafs, and even the regulation line at minus 170, of even coming up with that split of what I talk about, of taking like half a unit on the money line, half a unit on the puck line, because the puck line is not plus money. So you can't really do that here. But sometimes you can find a play within a play. And maybe if you feel the Leafs are the right play tonight and they're going to get off to a good start at home, as they have in their 10 previous games, their only losses were OT 3-2 losses, is you can take the Leafs first period, lay a half a goal, and you're getting plus 120 on your money. If you believe the Leafs are the play tonight and the Blues can score, then that's the way to go. Take the Leafs first period, win the first. They go on to win the game, of course, I'm pretty sure. But plus 120, lay a half a goal in the first period, not a bad way to go.
I always love those bets because you just get such a great price. You're turning a big favorite into a really good number just for them to execute in the first period and get the job done. And the Maple Leafs have been a pretty good first period team, so I do like that quite a bit. I'll stick with the team total under there for the St. Louis Blues. And this next game we're going to go to, I think is an interesting one. I'm eager to hear what these guys have to say. I'm going to talk about this one as well on Wager Talk today at 12 o'clock Eastern time. But we have the Vancouver Canucks and New York Islanders going head-to-head tonight. This one is pretty closer odds compared to the last game we discussed here. Minus 115 for the Islanders, minus 105 for the Canucks, total at 6. And guys, we have this Canucks team with a 16-17 record. They average 3.44 goals per game. I mean, it's crazy to think that how many goals that this team has scored. They are a mess defensively. They are a disaster. I mean, you have reporters calling out their forwards, like JT Miller, asking them, how do you feel like your back checking has been lately? How do you feel your defensive play has been lately? It's not good when reporters are asking the forwards how they feel they've been playing defensively. Because the fact is, if you told me before the season started, the Vancouver Canucks would average, nearly, 3.5 goals per game, I would say they're having a really, really good year. And I'm sure you guys would definitely agree with me on this one. And the Islanders score more goals as well. They've been an up and down team. But when I take a look at this contest, guys, I look at really what the Islanders have done recently. I just faded them against the Seattle Kraken a couple of days ago. And I think they're going to bounce back. I think they're going to be eager to get going. We just saw Vancouver Canucks lose 2 games. But when it comes down to it, they're not playing well as a team. And they're not really a team that I want to say, hey, here's my money. Please put together a good 60-minute game. I can't trust them to do that. As far as the Islanders are concerned, I think they're well coached. I think they have a lot of great leaders. And despite some injuries on their team, I think they can still win a game without some of those key pieces, whereas some other teams, I might worry about that. So, guys, at this short price, I like the Islanders. I have some concerns about the Canucks right now, and I'm going to rock here with the road team. Carm, what do you think here in this one?
Yeah, Andrew, I think I'm going to follow you as far as taking Vegas here. Yeah, they had they had a very good homestand, and you look at beating. I get it, beating Columbus, but beating Pittsburgh and the Florida Panthers by identical 5-1 scores, scoring some goals against some teams that, for the most part, were playing well defensively. You can question that on as far as Florida goes, but Pittsburgh has. And then they have to travel to play a New Year's Day game in Seattle. I don't think that's the greatest spot for them. But now picking up from here, this is where you have to look at it as far as this road trip goes. They head to Vancouver against a team that seems to pick up sporadic wins, 2 or 3 wins here, 2 or 3 wins there, just enough to appease the fans and keep Bruce Boudreau still behind the bench. At some point, if this team continues to fall off that race for the playoffs, and I believe they will, he's got to go. He's not working. He worked out well at the beginning, and sometimes you see that with new coaches coming in, the team performs well. They're just not buying into it. It's similar to when we were talking at the beginning of the show, and I wanted to interject. Paul Maurice is the worst coach, not the worst coach, the worst coach for the Florida Panthers. His style of play does not fit the type of team that the Florida Panthers are. There are right coaches for teams, and Maurice is not one for the Florida Panthers, and I don't think Bruce Boudreau is for the Canucks. Canucks have some talent on that team, and they're just underperforming, but they win 2 or 3 games, and everyone thinks everything's rosy again, and then they lose to Winnipeg and Calgary, scoring only a couple goals in each game, and all hell breaks loose again. I think they lose again tonight. I'm not even going to look at the total. I'm just going to look for the Islanders to grind out a win tonight at a very low price. Buster, give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, well, guys, I'm going to just wish both of you very good luck on your Islanders play, as I really don't have a side for this play at all. I think I basically want no part of it. It's kind of a coin flip, but I will give my analysis on it anyways. I find it, like I said, I just find this as a coin flip game. The Islanders have won 3 of their last 4 games. They were a no-show in Seattle the other night. They had like about 15, 16 shots. Just no-show, which I liked because I, as well as Andrew, I had Seattle as well in that game. But on the road, the Islanders, they've lost 5 out of their last 6. So that just, not sure if I think they bounce back tonight. I almost for sure believe they do bounce back. But Vancouver, even though they have lost 3 out of their last I think they've lost 4 of their last 7. I'm sorry about that. 4 of their last 7. I watched that game on Saturday night. I thought they deserved a better fate against Calgary. I thought they played really well. And as Carmine's saying, they pick up wins here and there. They play really well, then they don't play very well. But what the problem is for Vancouver is that defense. They give up a lot of chances. There's no doubt about that. So because of that, because I believe the Islanders are going to bounce back off the no-show in Seattle, and because I believe Vancouver will have a good game tonight, I'm taking the over 6. Like the game over. As Andrew mentioned, Islanders seem to play a little bit more offensively on the road, although it hasn't showed much lately. But like again, they only scored 1 and didn't show up in Seattle, so I like playing a team when that kind of thing happens, especially against Vancouver club that does give up a bunch of goals. And a little stat here for everyone. We talked about it earlier. When teams certain teams get together, certain things happen. And I mean, you could go back historically and you could say, well, it's not the same guys, it's just the same sweaters. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what sport. I've been doing this for 40 years, and that kind of stuff matters for some reason. Well, let's see if it matters tonight. These games between the clubs, 9-1-1, the last 11 games to the over between these two clubs. Again, I don't want no part of this side, but we are going over here in this game.
Well, Buster, it almost feels like, the Islanders being involved in this game is what's dragging it down to a 6 instead of a 6.5. Any game involving the Canucks right now should be a 6.5, I think. So I'm definitely would definitely be there. Yeah, I would be there with you as well on this one. I think that, and the Islanders, they're a team that's not, this boring team anymore like they once were.
No.
They're involved in some fun games to watch as well lately. So, guys, our last game we're going to break down here. We got best bets at the end of the show and some promotional stuff to get into. We got the Dallas Stars and the LA Kings here. Dallas minus 125, Kings plus 105, total at 6 here. Minus 115 if you do want the puck line on Dallas, plus 195. I doubt you would want it on the Kings, but it is minus 245 on the plus 1.5 line there. Guys, we have a Dallas team that has won 5 of their last 6, 7 of their last 10. And, you talk about in the new year, January, February, teams that go on these big stretches. A lot of times people say the season might not even start until the new year. As long as you're not too far down, this is the time of year where you want to get on a big run. Well, the Dallas Stars are playing some really good hockey right now. They're scoring goals. Their power play is strong. They're playing well defensively. And as far as this LA Kings team is concerned, I really liked them going into this season, guys. But I feel like they haven't had their focus all there for a lot of games. I feel like this is a team that it's too inconsistent for my liking. And I'm almost just tempted to ride the streak and ride the hot hand with the Dallas Stars in this one. You take a look at an LA Kings team, they'll lose to Philadelphia, but they'll beat a Vegas team. They'll lose to Arizona, but they'll beat a Colorado team. I don't want my money on a team like that. I want to back the team that's in really good form. All the guys are playing very well. They're getting a lot of shots on goal, and they're playing very well defensively. And that, to me, is the Dallas Stars. So I'll take them tonight, Buster. What do you think?
Well, I can't blame you for taking Dallas, but then I can't blame people if they think LA is a little bit of a small dog, too. Again, I will mention to Carmine, very good games you picked here. This is another tough one. Both teams are playing really good hockey, as Andrew just mentioned. Dallas has won 4 straight. LA's won 6 of their last 8. But in saying that, and the reason why I do lean a little to Dallas is Dallas has kind of had the Kings number. They won 6 of the last 7 in LA, including this year they beat them in Dallas 5-2. So in that regards, I believe Dallas is a little bit of a play here. But for me, I don't like the 125 lane on Dallas. LA's shown they've been pretty good at home of late. I know they lost their last game to Philly, but we talked about a game just last Tuesday. LA was playing Vegas, and we talked about how Vegas was really good road record, LA very good home record, and LA beats Vegas. So again, the side here for me is just something that I find it very tough to pick, especially now that LA, I haven't seen the starters, but I know Quick played the other night. So that means Copley will probably be in net for LA. He's been playing some really good hockey. Now you also have Ottinger in net for Dallas. I mean, he might be one of the better goalies in the league this year so far. So in saying that, I'm going to go with the under here. The under 6. Again, 2 good goaltenders. What else I like, both teams haven't played since Saturday. So they got a couple of days off, which is good. And also, let's look at some of these stats. Dallas are 8-1 to the under, last 9 on the road. LA, 7-2 to the under their last 9 games. So as I say, very tough side to pick here. Good luck, brother Andrew, with Dallas. I'm taking the under in this one.
Hey, I'm just happy you aren't on the Kings, so you can take the under. How about a Dallas 3-1 win for me? That sounds just about right to me, Buster. Carm, this is a good game, and like we talked about, both teams are playing well. The Dallas Stars have definitely gotten a good streak here, and I think they were struggling to find their consistency. prior to this new year, but I feel like they've found it, and they have a lot of guys playing really well right now. What do you think here, Stars and Kings?
Yeah, one of the tough things, Andrew, is when you look at this game is always wanted to take road teams because teams generally play their best at home. But this Stars team, I don't mind laying a very short number with them, and -25 is a short number with them because they're playing well. You mean like, especially if it's Ottinger or net, all of it depends for me on the starting goalies in this game. You look at Ottinger and Phoenix Copley for the Kings. Both goalies are playing lights out hockey right now. Ottinger, 8 of his last 9 games, he's allowed 2 or fewer goals. It was just a 6-3 loss to the Edmonton Oilers. The only time where he's allowed more than 2 goals. There's a bunch of 2s, 1s, and I think a shutout on that. They're just playing well defensively, which equates into wins when they can score goals. With the Kings, I talked about the Kings, and they went through that nice little spurt after they won in Boston at the end of a terrible road trip. Come home, pick up 3 more wins. But their last 4 games, even though they've gone 2-2 in their last 4, I think it was the loss to Arizona, and then especially the loss to Philadelphia, they reverted back to making the mistakes that they were making during that road trip where they were losing games by a 5-0, 6-0 scoreline. They make those same mistakes against the Dallas Stars tonight, and Dallas cashes in on 3 goals. It's probably enough to win this game because they're not going to allow more than that, I have to believe, if they continue to play the way they're playing. Copley's good, 8-1 on the season. He's allowed more than three or more goals 3 times. 6-0 to the Sabres, 5-4 to Colorado, and 4-3 to the Calgary Flames. But other than that, it's been 2 or fewer goals as well too. He's got a great looking number as far as his save percentage and goals against average. So you got to like the under here, I think, in this one. But I'm leaning Dallas Stars. It's tough to take a team and then lean to the under if you think that team like Dallas is going to score 3 or 4 goals, which I think could happen if the Kings continue down this path of making those defensive errors and just their forwards not back checking properly. That's what hurt them on that road trip, and that's what's hurt them in the last 4 games, even though they won 2 of those. So my stronger play here is the Dallas Stars at -125.
I love to hear it, Carm. And one thing that you mentioned there, I think it's so true, especially for people like the 3 of us that are watchers. We're handicappers that watch all these games. If you're a guy that watched the LA Kings recently, excuse me, guys, to your point, Carm, they have been bailed out by some great goaltending recently. They've got their goaltenders playing very well, some defensemen bailing them out, sliding around on the ice. I'd love to hear Brian on this show. I'm not sure if Brian's watching here, but some of the expected goal numbers, I did not look for the LA Kings recently, but I do know that they have been giving up quite a few chances. Their goaltending has definitely been helping them out quite a bit here, guys. Let's go around the horn. We'll get to best bets here. Of course, it is Tuesday, so there's lots of time in this week for people to buy football packages, packages for the weekend, of course, packages for tonight as well across all kinds of different sports. Let's start with you, Buster, with what you have going over today at Sports Memo and what you have going for the rest of the week, and of course your best bet.
Well, thank you, Andrew. Go over to Sports Memo, and I believe Wager Talk as well. The powers that be put on a nice big Ring in the New Year special. You can buy a 30-day, 90-day, full year even. That's some huge discounts. With NFL playoffs coming up, full into college basketball now that conference play is going, and of course lots of NHL to get at. So go over there, grab one of those packages. There's some good discounts. I think it's up until maybe till Sunday night, I believe. Our show best play is going to be Buffalo, Washington, over 6.5 at even money. Even though the Sabres, they've been playing a bunch of unders lately, I think they're just a dead over team. And they've been playing, this is going to be their 4th game in 6 nights. And I believe that the over in this series has gone over 5 of the last 6 in Washington. And Washington at home, they've gone over 4 of their last 5 games. So give us the over 6.5 with Buffalo and Washington. And best of luck with all your plays, guys, tonight. And have a good one.
It's always good to see you, Buster. And again, Happy New Year to you and your better
Yes,
half. I hope you're living
same
it
to
up.
you, Andrew. Same to you. Same to you, Carmine.
Carm, what are you thinking here for tonight as far as your plays for clients? Do you have anything up right now at Wager Talk, or do you have some stuff you're going to be posting? And of course, your best bet for the show.
Yeah, I just need to create the ad copy, but the plays are loaded. You can get them. Pick up the 3-day all access package, which is a great deal, or even the 7-day package as well too, because I got a 5% play coming this midweek. So that normally goes for 35. You can get that into the 3-day all access package. And there's soccer going this afternoon, EPL. There's 4 games. I've got 3 plays loaded right now. So you get those all as far with the 3-day all access, or buy them separately. Andrew, as far as my best bet, I'm going to fade a team that is in full tank mode. It doesn't take much to want to fade the Chicago Blackhawks. And with that, they lost 12 of the last 13. I'm taking Tampa Bay here. I'm laying the puck line on this. Chicago has lost 12 of their last 13 games. Only a win at home against Columbus is the only win. In those 12 wins, every single loss was by 2 or more goals. Every team that has beaten them has covered the puck line. You're laying $1.35 with Tampa Bay here on the puck line, and that's the way to go. Tampa Bay -1.5, -135 as your show best bet.
Hey, ride the hot, and let's just keep fading those cold teams, Carm. I do not blame you at all for that one. That's a good price there on the puck line, I even think, here on Tampa Bay, -1.5 at -135. Great stuff there. For me, looking like 2 plays so far. If I do add anything, it will be later on in the afternoon. And that's just as far as NHL action. We'll have some other action as far as some other sports up soon. But for me, as far as my best bet is concerned, Buster mentioned we didn't talk about the Canadians today, so I figured I would talk about them. I'm going to go with a +1.5 goal line here with the Montreal Canadiens. I don't bet the +1.5 very often here, guys, but I think this is a good spot to do it. Look, they've not been playing well. They've been blown out in 3 straight games. We're getting -120 on them getting a goal against a Nashville Predators team that they couldn't blow out Buster, Carmine, and I if we played against them. They are not a team that puts up goals in bunches whatsoever. They win by scoring 3-4 goals. I think Montreal will get up for this game, and they will bounce back. They've had some time off to reflect, and after getting absolutely beat down 3 straight games, I think this one they could potentially win outright. But I'll play it safe here with the +1.5 on -120 here, guys. So to recap the power plays, we have Carm with Tampa Bay on the puck line -1.5. Don Buster with Buffalo, Washington over 6.5. And we have myself, Montreal +1.5 at -120. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at Wager Talk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at Wager Talk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to wagertalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.